Hello and welcome to This Explainer. I am honestly so thrilled to have you here today because, well, we are going to unpack something truly fascinating. We're going to uncover this hidden biological force that is actively shaping your everyday reality. Think about it. We constantly process thousands, literally thousands, of pieces of information every single second, but we only truly notice a tiny fraction of it. Have you ever wondered who or what is actually deciding what gets through to your conscious mind? Well, today we're going to meet the ultimate gatekeeper of your brain.
Now think about this highly relatable scenario for a second. Let's say you're planning to buy a specific car, right? You do all your research, you pick the exact make, the model, even the color, and suddenly, literally, as soon as you hit the road, you start seeing that exact car absolutely everywhere. It's in traffic, it's in the grocery store parking lot, it's on TV. Now, did everyone just suddenly go out and buy your favorite car all at once? Well, no, of course not. Those cars have always been there, right on the road with you. But your brain simply didn't look at them. You never gave them any attention until you started actively focusing on them. Your brain just woke up and started paying attention.
Okay, let's dive right into this and look at the biological science behind this weird phenomenon. Section 1. Meet your brain's gatekeeper.
So, what we are actually talking about here is the reticular activating system, or the RAS for short. The RAS is a component found right in the interiormost segment of your brainstem, and it is deeply connected. It receives input from your spinal cord, sensory pathways, the thalamus, the cortex, and it sends signals throughout your entire nervous system. Basically, it's responsible for sensation, consciousness, your sleep-wake cycle, and, most importantly for what we're talking about today, your attention. It essentially acts as this massive information filter, controlling exactly what you perceive in your consciousness, based entirely on what it deems important to you. Basically, it's the ultimate bouncer at the club of your mind.
So, how exactly does this bouncer decide who actually gets in? Let's get into Section 2, how the filter works.
To really understand the RAS, we've got to remember that our brain evolved over millions of years with one primary job, and that is to predict and protect us. This means your RAS automatically filters for things tied to our survival and our identity. In layman's terms, your RAS is going to instantly alert you if your name is called in a crowded, noisy room. It'll instantly highlight a face in a crowd that looks threatening, so you feel unsafe and can react quickly. It even goes into absolute overdrive if you suspect your partner is checking out other people or cheating on you, because that threatens your close social bonds. And finally, it filters for whatever information you are actively focusing on right now. It constantly scans the world just to validate your current thoughts.
And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates how absolutely crucial that focus really is. Just take a look at this comparison regarding skiing. If you've ever skied, you know the ultimate beginner's trap, right? If you're scared and you keep looking out for rocks or trees, the obstacles, your brain focuses entirely on them. And what happens? You drastically increase your chances of hitting those exact objects. But the advanced skiing strategy is to always keep your eyes locked on the clear path ahead. Because when you focus on the path, your body naturally steers away from the dangers, ensuring you move forward safely. Your RAS guides you exactly toward whatever you are actively looking for, whether it's the safe open path or that really dangerous tree.
But because our brain is completely hardwired for threat detection, this protective mechanism can accidentally hijack our daily peace of mind. Moving on to Section 3, the negativity bias trap.
Because the brain's main job is to protect us, it naturally has this proclivity to magnify negative events. The brain responds to negativity far more intensely than it does to positive stuff. You know, it is like lint in a dryer vent. Once the lint starts collecting, it tends to accumulate even more of that stuff. And once you start accumulating negative beliefs and thoughts, your RAS filters the world to find even more evidence to prove those thoughts right. The negativity just compounds, naturally and intensely, unless we forcefully intervene to clean out that vent.
You could actually see this stark contrast play out in your own daily life. When you're in a disempowered state, caught in those negative thought patterns, your RAS makes you notice more hopelessness and helplessness. You feel totally out of control. You get into this high alert mode, and you literally make a mountain out of a molehill. Your RAS gets highly heightened to protect you from invisible threats, which, ironically, are actually just your own thoughts. Now, contrast that with an empowered state, when you feel gratitude, peace, or when you're serving others. Your RAS notices opportunities. It actively attracts your attention to things that enable you and bring you positivity. Your everyday reality depends entirely on the lens of your current mindset.
Now, it is absolutely crucial to really take this next point in. No one self-sabotages intentionally. No one wakes up one day and says, you know what, today I'm going to destroy my health, ruin my relationship, or just give up on my dreams. We really have to destigmatize bad habits and self-sabotage because at its core, it's just a biological misfire. We get triggered, we feel anxious about things that are totally out of our control, and we fall into our limiting patterns purely because our protective filter gets jammed.
When we fall into these low-energy states, things like anger, resentment, frustration, guilt, misery, holding grudges, or even people-pleasing, our rationality gets completely hijacked. In these triggered states, it is cognitively very, very difficult for us to just think rationally. And why is that? It's because our senses are intensely heightened, simply to save our ego. We get pulled into this negative self-talk, which makes it incredibly easy to just give up on the very behaviors and routines that actually serve our well-being.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is we are moving away from identifying the problem to look at how we can actively take the wheel. Section 4. Switching to optimism mode.
To actually switch our RAS into optimistic mode, we have to forcefully interrupt the loop of our own self-limiting patterns. Now, this is a difficult but completely necessary 3-step process. Step 1, you must become self-aware. Honestly, this is the tough part. Just identifying that your mind is running those negative thoughts in the first place. Step 2, endure the discomfort, because it is genuinely scary and uncomfortable to question our own way of thinking. And step 3, you have to challenge your lack mindset. If you constantly tell yourself you aren't enough, or if you're always blaming external factors, you stay in this state of lack where you only observe the hurdles. By challenging it, you actually force your RAS to start scanning for possibilities instead.
So, how do we solidify this brand new optimistic focus? Let's get into Section 5, controlling what you can.
The absolute most crucial point to remember here is that you have to stop trying to control the external. Nothing outside of your body can be controlled by you. And I mean nothing. We get so stressed out trying to control the world around us, but truthfully, it's hard enough to control what's inside us. I mean, we can't even fully control our own autonomic nervous system, and our flow of thoughts is heavily influenced by years of childhood programming. So we really must abandon this totally futile effort to control the external world and focus entirely on our internal environment.
When we focus internally, we can actually start reprogramming our confidence through 3 clear steps. First, you must step out of your comfort zone voluntarily. Challenge yourself mentally or physically. Second, secure repeated small wins. When you do unfamiliar things and you actually improve, you grow, and these small repeated wins really build up over time. Third, you build unshakable courage. You learn the skill of doing difficult things even though they are scary. When you feel capable and confident, your RAS is essentially reprogrammed. It gets optimistic about life and actively starts observing new opportunities instead of just looking for threats.
And as you build this new confidence, you really need to keep this top of mind. Wellness is a continuous process, not a one-time destination. So many of us lose our momentum because we think of health, relationships, or career success as this final finish line. But health is a process. Loving relationships require continuous work. Even the definition of happiness keeps changing throughout our lives. You have to believe in the process and stay consistent, because your RAS needs that continuous, positive direction.
A massive part of that continuous process is applying the brakes to a system that's been stuck in overdrive. And we do this through practical self-care. I'm talking about regular exercise, nutritionally rich foods, getting optimum sleep, and practicing meditation or deep breathing techniques. And listen, these aren't just trendy health tips. They are literal, biological tools. They settle your nervous system down, shifting it from a heightened, stressed fight-or-flight state into a much calmer rest and digest state. Any self-care activity that enables growth and nourishment directly impacts your RAS, allowing it to finally refocus on the positive.
Which brings us to our final and probably most important question. Ask yourself right now, what is your gatekeeper filtering for you right now? Are you focusing on the rocks and the trees, guaranteeing a crash, or are you focused on the clear, open path ahead? Remember, your reality is shaped entirely by what you choose to pay attention to. You have the power to interrupt the negative loop, reprogram your confidence, and direct your ultimate gatekeeper to seek out the opportunities you truly deserve. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I challenge you today, go take control of your focus.